So in this video I want to go over some Singularity matches that I played pretty recently. So I know a lot of people are very skeptical about Singularity, and I know a lot of people don't enjoy going against this killer. But for me, I'm the complete opposite. I love going against Singularity and I love playing as Singularity. And I do understand that this killer is extremely complicated and extremely oppressive. But in this video I want to kind of just go over these matches I played, my thought process, and basically some tips and tricks on how you can play as and against the Singularity. So hopefully you guys learn some things in this video. I'll briefly go over the build and I'll just explain why I run these perks. So the first one is Painter. It's pretty obvious. It's a solid perk choice in general. This perk alone is pretty good against decent teams. However, my biggest complaint of this perk is the pain res RNG. Usually I don't get good pain res RNG, so half the time I don't even get value out of this perk. But when I do, it's very, very good. And Rapid Brutality, of course, when you're in overclock mode, you stack both of them together, you get 8% haste. And this perk just basically allows you to close in the distance extremely fast, and you're just far more oppressive in chase. And you can... this perk is honestly very underrated because you can get downs that you'd normally not be able to get. Surge is actually kind of a funny choice. A lot of people don't really agree with this perk, but for me, in my experience, this perk has actually clutched me in so many matches against good teams. Because the problem though is Singularity, he's a great killer, but on certain maps against good teams, he's dog shit. Singularity is much harder to play on a map that's a little bit rough for him, and especially against a good team. And for the last perk, it kind of depends on your play style, but for me, I used to run Frenzy End for a very, very long time, but with this meta, I mean, Frenzy End doesn't really do enough for me in the meta. For now, I've just kind of been running Pop. And then for add-ons, when I normally just chill, I run Nanomachine Gel plus Diagnostics Tool Repair. Now, this add-on alone is extremely solid. So 4 meters doesn't seem a whole lot, right? Oh, let me tell you, this add-on is honestly probably even stronger than Soma. Some of the things that you can do just completely changes the way you have to play against Singularity. You can place biopods much farther away from gens. It's going to take survivors much longer to get up from the gem and then walk over to that camera and EMP it. It takes significantly longer. And you combine that in Nanomachine Gel, so it just reduces the biopod cooldown by 15% when you slipstream a survivor. But yeah, that's basically the build summed up. I'll start playing some of the games right now. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, please let me know in the comments down below. Especially if you have any other questions about Singularity stuff, I will respond to every single comment. I am more than happy to help answer your questions. Anyway, let's get to the matches. So Nostromo is a very hit or miss map for Singularity. It is either a really good map for Singularity or it's a really bad map for Singularity, and it just all comes down to RNG. On this map, I love to place 2 cameras in the middle, because one of the things you want to do with Singularity is you want to place cameras on the most common places where survivors will rotate. And I just placed that camera right at main right here because it forces survivors to grab an EMP. So here what I did here was, instead of just immediately teleporting and maybe Fang could have just held W and maybe have gotten away for free, I actually held her there and I just kept holding my TP and just spamming it. And then I teleported, because then I caught her off in a bad spot. Survivors can pretty much easily tell when you're about to TP on top of them. And it's pretty obvious as to when the killer's going to teleport onto you, because it's just whenever he holds his hand cannon on you or when he's about to teleport to you through the camera, it plays this annoying sound and also gives you a visual cue. So that pretty much gives survivors a pretty big leeway, kind of gives them a heads up. But when you force them into a spot where they're not sure as to, like, oh, are you going to TP or are you going to walk around? All you have to do is really just keep the survivor in one spot. Just like a tight little circle. Then you just basically just teleport. And then you're going to teleport just directly on top of them. And I changed up my rhythm too. You'll see as the match plays out. But I changed my rhythm as well. So it's very unpredictable as to when I'm going to teleport on top of them. So there they EMP that one shitty camera that's just facing right up in that main gen. And I have this camera here. Not only was I covering the mid area, but I was also covering the 2 out of the 3 spots that you could work on that gen. Singularity can also counter Blast Mine just by being an overclock and kicking the gen. Yes, it still blinds you, but you can still kick the gen fully, and then you can still walk around. So the first gen pops, which is honestly kind of expected. I'm not running Corrupt, so I really shouldn't be expecting to lose too many gens here. Okay, now that's just the beauty of the range add-on. They had no idea I was able to lock on from them from this far, and at this point these guys have already screwed up, so I'm just going to go after the unhooker and just get a quick down. And again, I want to keep her at the pallet because she has to drop the pallet. If she doesn't drop the pallet, she just dies. So those vaults that lead to big drop downs are always one of the most important ones to biopod, especially on this map because there's 2 of them on each side. So 3 of them are healing right in front of a biopod. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. So here I didn't see that Sable didn't run to the front, so I immediately look at one of my cameras. She either went into main or she's going for the pickup. I assume she's going for the pickup, and I was correct. Okay, so I'm going to break down that segment just for a little bit. So I doubled back assuming that Sable is just going to throw it on the pallet like as she should have. But instead, she decides to camp the pallet, which I do not understand why. And I was, like, frankly surprised by it, too. But here's why camping pallets is a garbage idea against the Singularity. When you sit at a pallet, when you're sitting stationary, if the Singularity teleports onto you, he's going to teleport directly on top of you. And so if you're camping a pallet, he's going to teleport directly on top of you. You're not going to be able to reach to the other side. You're not going to be able to go back for another loop. And you're not going to be able to drop the pallet. So you just get hit. And again, if you're going to heal, you need to stay away from the map. You need to just take the time and run away, because if he catches you, most likely you're going to die. So all the survivors are picked up and they're resetting, and you can see me over here. I'm using all the cams and I'm looking for where those survivors are. So I look at the cams, I don't hear them, I don't see them, and just from doing that, I pretty much already know where they're resetting. Another factor that I'd like to point out real quick is that dying spots are extremely important against Singularity. But this Feng, what she did was instead, she should have just ran towards like the shack area or the UFO area. Instead, she decided to run to the one area where most of the action has been, so guaranteed all the pallets have been dropped. And she also died like literally right next to where all of her teammates were. So it was much faster for me to down her, and I was able to get that TP, and I'm now back on the Jill again. I figured that Sable was hanging around main. I don't know why she was there exactly, but I decided not to chase her because I kind of wanted this game to drag on a little bit longer, but this game was already over with. So why do these guys suffer the consequences of not grabbing the EMPs and instead just fucking raw dogging everything? I'll go over some of the mistakes they've been making. So First of all, they're not dropping pallets as they should. You need to treat Singularity like the same way as like a Billy or Blight. With Billy, you either just pre-drop the pallet to Valhalla, or you can maybe do like a few loops. Blight is kind of the same way, except like you're probably going to have to drop more pallets against a Blight and play a bit safer. Singularity is the same way. He has to be treated the same way. Like really any filler pallet, unless you have a window, you have to drop the pallet. So Red Forest is also a pretty interesting map. The map is it's very cluttered. There's trees, rocks. There's a lot of stuff that can be used for line of sight blockers, which makes the map a bit harder for Singularity. And plus, the pals are pretty good. So these type of maps with a lot of line of sight blockers and good loops, you want to be pretty fast when it comes to placing down your biopods. You don't want to be dicking around, wasting time trying to get the perfect biopod placement. Just do a biopod that's good enough. These fillers are impossible to play with the pallet up. You want to, when you get to a filler like that, you want to immediately drop the pallet. It forces the Singularity to break. Because when you drop the pallet, I mean, there's absolutely zero way that I can get the hit.
Terrible construction.
You just gotta love console players. Good thing she EMP'd that camera, even though I was standing right next to it, so it totally didn't take me less than 2 seconds to replace that camera. People constantly forget with Singularity, especially when I see other Singularity players play him, is that he has an auto-aim feature where if you look at a camera and you hold down the button that you use to look at your camera, it just auto-locks anyone that can be blocked, so you don't have to like waste time looking around the map and then like pointing your camera towards the survivor to goop them. So yeah, those were basically all the matches. They weren't really anything special, but I just wanted to highlight. I'm making this video for a reason. It's just to highlight the mistakes that I see Survivor players often make against Singularity, and especially since not a lot of people have gone against like people who main Singularity, like who know what they're doing. A lot of people play Singularity for like their daily, or they're doing it for like a redeem or something. But hopefully this video was a bit informative on how to play as and against the Singularity and the tricks that I use. Again, if anyone has any questions about Singularity, please let me know in the comments down below. I will respond to every single comment, and I'm more than happy to clarify anything or any sort of confusion. Consider liking the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see maybe more of this type of content in the near future of the channel. I would be looking for some good teams that will give me a run for my money, which I think will far better demonstrate the real power of Singularity. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and I will see you guys next time.